Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yao Mean of Revolution, and Larry Hoover Jr. speaks on how we can help this father. Before we get into that, be sure to wipe your feet. That means hit the like button. You in the House of Revolution. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. Well, we're going to hear what Larry Jr. has to say about helping his father. We know it's a fight now. He's not immediately released. The state, it's in the state's hands now. Democratic governor. Small hat, Democratic governor. It's in the ball is in the court of the Democrats. But I've already got some news we're gonna look into. We got some bigoted liberal Democrats. Malcolm told us about these hypocrites. You know, they're looking at him pardoning NBA YoungBoy suspiciously. Him looking at him, not pardoning, commuting somebody, pardoning YoungBoy, commuting Hoover sentence, and they've been roll up that good dinner, man. They've been very disrespectful. Now, white liberal America, I want to ask y'all this. If y'all saying a man can't change, how the hell y'all expect us to ever trust y'all no good behind? Let's get into this content.
Hi, everybody. So,
America, y'all want to play this?
My brother's actually in the other room. Say hi, Larry.
What's going on?
We don't do this live stuff often. Y'all tell Mama and Larry congratulations.
Oh. Hey, I know we're not supposed to get to this, but I want to tell all these people I feel sorry for you guys. This gang banging while we talking about a man's life. This is a grown man, a senior citizen. It's not no kids in here. And if you can't move past that point in life where you still gang banging, you may possibly die in the streets and go to jail, young man. I love everybody.
Yeah, I just saw that pop up too. Shit,
yeah, I got family that's GDs, PDs, Vice Lords, Stone, all that. It's all love around here.
Now I was in this live yesterday because I do follow my brother Junior, Larry Jr. on his Instagram, and I was sitting at the house and I seen it said Larry Jr. mentions you, and I was like, whoa, I know he didn't mention the Peace Alert guy. What happened if you were a follower? They pulled you into this live. And in this live is some very disrespectful FBI agents and government informants in there gang banging. You know, the FBI, I already see what the FBI tactics gonna be. They're gonna try to start a bunch of confusion. And I want to let King Yeller know of Chicago. I seen he made a disrespectful little video yesterday, dancing, talking about people mad Larry home, the G's and all that. That's what the feds want clowns to do. Act like this is a GD thing. And that's what Junior's saying. No, they don't want no part of none of that. Because who don't want no part of none of that? This is a celebration for unity and community and peace.
So say that for another platform.
Or we could just block them and keep going.
Yeah, we can keep going. I just want them to know how I feel about it. They wasting their time.
So you guys, we jumped on here because we wanted to talk to you guys about something super important, right? And we thought this was probably the easiest way to do it. But right now, so you guys understand, because I think there's a lot of confusion and Larry's going to clear it. Hi, Sam. We're going to clear this up real quick. So how this works, Larry, explain to them how Trump has freed him from the Fed, but what's going on with the state.
Okay. Trump has freed my father from federal custody. But as I told people plenty times before, it's been a dual jurisdiction. So now the state has the opportunity to go get him. And what we're trying to do right now is we're trying to reach out to Governor Pritzker to let him know that my father would be a blessing to this city. And he could also leave the city if he needs him to leave. But we dealing with Pritzker, and he can go into state custody. And all he has to do is strike his pen and say that we don't need this geriatric old man. He served his time. Like he's not worried about leading any type of gang organization or running the streets. If he does anything for the streets, it would be telling the YNs that you go spend a life that you're going to live the life that he lived if you don't change your life. He would be an asset and a blessing to this community. All the people that stuck on some other stuff, like your understanding is just kind of weak. Your understanding of life, your understanding of manhood, your understanding of being a woman. We not with that. We're all about peace and love. And we need Priska to understand that he will be a blessing to this community. And we want him to give this man a second chance. Priska believes in redemption and believe that he should be redeemed. Everybody else in this situation has been able to have redemption and have a second chance in life. And I would love to actually be able to hold my father. I'm close, but I'm not all the way there yet. I know it don't sound right, but I want to hug and kiss a man. My kids want to hug and kiss their grandfather. My mother wants to hug and kiss her husband. Like, it's a whole family out here. This is a man in a man's life. This has nothing to do with any nonsense. We need for everybody to let Priska know that Larry Hoover will be a blessing to this community, an asset, no type of threats. If anything, it may be even more peaceful.
Hold on, Jamal, are you next to Larry? Can you please go block famous Cuzzy, whatever this poor boy's name is that I feel sorry for?
Hey, we love you, young man.
Literally.
You'll get it together one day.
And please, nobody go back and forth with him. This is not, we are celebrating today. We are not trying to be in on none of that garbage or whatever it is. But so here's what we need from you guys, right? We would love for you to take a photo of Senior, any picture that you guys want off Larry's page or Mama's page. I will, well, Larry's got enough pictures on there. If you guys can post it and write something positive underneath the photo and then tag the governor and hashtag Free Larry Hoover, right? Because it's like super important that now that he's released from the feds, we have to release him from. Well, people know that you're on live and then just keep calling your phone. Like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, you got people saying.
Yeah. So that is what we need done now, to be honest with you. We need everybody to grab a photo, tag the governor, and everything else. He is released from the feds. President Trump did an unbelievable thing for us today, but now we need to release him from the state. And you guys are free to ask any questions you guys want. You guys are free to, and it is, listen, I know some of you guys are writing like shaking my head. It is an incredible thing what happened today. It is unbelievable that he was released from ADS.
Come true, because I never knew. I was always hoping, but I never knew that this day would actually come. Like 52 years, y'all. Like, this is a dream come true. It's unreal. I don't even know how I really feel right now, and I apologize to the people that have lost their parents, but I have never had a chance to, walk down the street with mine, and I understand. But yeah, it's a dream come.
No celebrations from grammar school to high school to college.
Y'all heard it.
Never seen that.
Please do not call him chairman. Please don't put no pitchforks up. Please don't put no stars up. Please don't do any of that stuff. Please.
This is Mr. Larry Hoover.
This is Mr. Larry Hoover. All that other stuff is.
I had to years ago. I had to stop doing that myself, trying to show him some respect and call him the chairman because but that's not good. And the chairman is of the GDs. He don't want that title. He's just Mr. Honorable. He's just Larry Hoover, a senior in the community. He don't want any of that. See, some people try to show him reverence by calling him the chairman. That's long gone. He don't want that no more.
And he Mr. Larry Hoover.
Looking for something.
No, he said Miss Larry. I think he's talking about the thing. Please, you guys, it has been 52 years. We understand. We love you guys. We appreciate all the support and everything else. But we are literally one step closer into getting this done. And we need you guys to make sure anybody who posts it, Sorry, you know, old people.
And I am old. And I ain't ashamed of it.
We are
I'm talking smart.
what do you call it? We need you guys to please do not put any gang affiliated stuff online. If you saw somebody who puts it up, please ask them to take it off. You guys see, we got to pin that. Larry, pin the governor's J-Mark.
We tried, but
Pin that.
yeah, the comments went out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the comments went out. Hold on.
Please don't smack on that gun. You know I can't stand it. I hear you. I'm sure.
On live, mama.
Hey,
We fussing
hey
on
Shay.
live.
He
said,
I don't see
he
no.
said, he said, Mama, we live. We like, girl.
Hey, y'all can still see us, right?
Yeah, we can see you. I need to tag.
We can't see no comments.
Salute, family.
You can't see the comments?
Went out. Yep. It's an Instagram glitch. It went totally out. Oh, shoot. Yeah. So at JB Pritzker.
I don't know. I see.
Now.
I'm getting a spanking over here.
Yeah, they did it.
But they cut us off.
Nah, they cut your comments. Can you still see the comments?
Yeah,
Susan?
I can see them.
Yeah, we can't see no comments at all now.
Did he go out and come back?
But he's live, so he can't go back. He can't go out yet. So just at JB Pritzker, PRITZKER.
Yeah, we would really honestly appreciate it because we are trying to show the state that this is a man that can just come home and be with his family, and we don't want no drama, no nothing. All of you that are on here writing this most ridiculous, like seriously, some of this stuff is so ridiculous. Like, what's wrong with y'all?
Well, not here, but that's why he needs to be home so we can wrap our hands around some of them guys and give them some love. So they won't be out here doing that.
Thank you guys. Some of you guys are tagging. You guys see a lot of them are tagging the governor. Once again, please stop posting any pitchforks, any stars, any of that. You are not making it any better. If you love this family, we are asking you to please stop doing that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, post your own, post on your own page in your story and tag JB Pritzker, please. I would really appreciate that. It would mean to me.
Right. Just trying to get an intervene before.
Now, the Democrats being the disgusting users and abusers and manipulators of our people. And this one thing I want to say, because we have plenty of political prisoners that's incarcerated. Plenty of our senior Black Panther brothers still locked up. Salute, we in here. Sada Shakur, our revolutionary OG queen. She's still in Cuba being protected. But I seen the FBI, they was putting more money on her head. We need her sentence commuted because she never killed no police officers. And it was a righteous and exact thing that she was broken out of prison. That was the good old days when we stood up tall. So we got a lot of revolutionary business we need to stand on. But the Congressional Black Caucus, y'all never heard those coons say anything about commuting Assata. They're not allowed to speak up for Assata. When will we hear the Congressional Black Caucus speak up on behalf of Assata or any of our revolutionary brothers and sisters who are political prisoners? Only time they talk about political prisoners is in Russia or Iran or China. They talk about other people getting abused. They don't give a fuck about us. You know, so we got to remember that. But these disgusting Democrats, so I had to go to MSNBC. And okay, Trump, that's the Republican Party, he made the move. He pardoned NBA Youngboy. Now, at one point, I could be like, oh, NBA Youngboy, that boy full of BS, got a lot of nonsense going on. But then I had to remember it was NBA Youngboys camp who paid the bond of Carmelo Anthony, our brother, who fighting for his freedom down here in Texas right now. Carmelo Anthony. Y'all remember Carmelo Anthony? We always wonder who paid the bond, and the whites was mad. Who giving all this money to Carmelo? Oh, that was NBA Youngboy. So a very righteous thing. So you do righteous shit, then some righteous shit can be returned to you. Now, this Larry Hoover thing, the Democrats always talked about the political system and how people deserve second chances. And if they don't believe that anymore, then we can't believe a word that racist bastards in the Democratic Party say, because we know their history. We know their past. Malcolm told us about these goddamn white liberals.
Continues to issue these controversial pardons and commutation. The list includes a former New York congressman who pleaded guilty to felony tax evasion, a former Connecticut governor found guilty of obstructing justice, a rapper known as NBA Youngboy who pleaded guilty to possessing weapons as a felon, and former Chicago gang leader Lary Hoover. Hoover, considered one of the most notorious criminals in Illinois history, has been serving multiple life sentences since the 1970s. The move is not expected, though, to set him free. He has more than 100 years left to serve on state murder charges in Illinois that presidential clemency cannot erase. Let's bring an end.
You see, they gloating. This is the see, a Democratic governor is in power in Illinois. The Democrats say whether or not Larry Hoover walked free. Trump just put the ball in their court to shame him and use this as politics too. It's all political. But I want to see how the Democrats will respond. Well, they came out this morning and already saying the criminal, the gang leader, he still has hundreds of years to do. Why are you talking like that about black people? MSNBC. I thought y'all didn't mind redemption, and y'all said people need second chances. Y'all let criminal gang leaders from Venezuela come over here. You never said a mumbling motherfucking word. Now a man who served 52 years. Oh, and never forget is the Democratic Arnold Schwarzenegger who killed Tookie Williams after Tookie won the Nobel Peace Prize for peace and denounced anything to do with Crips and wanted to be a warrior for peace. The Democrats killed him in prison. So we can't be forgetting this type of shit. And now I caught them talking very disrespectful on TV. And I'm not even for listening to this whole MSNBC bullshit because I don't give a damn. I just want to hear them in the beginning go against rappers, NBA Youngboy. Nigga, y'all just wanted him, the NBA Youngboy, to vouch for Kamala Harris. He didn't do that. Now it's disgusting. He's been pardoned. He had weapons charges. What? All them rappers y'all kick it with, if they vote blue, no matter who, y'all didn't give a damn about no weapons charges. Oh, unless Trump sides with them. Then see how these, but they tell you this is what the white racist Republicans do. This is them. The people Malcolm X told us about, the white liberals. They don't give a shit about peace in our fucking community. They want to bring a man home and try to fix some of what he broke. They don't give a fuck about redemptive characteristics. They liars. They don't believe in that book that they're always talking about, because nobody who believes in that book could say a man who said 52 years don't deserve to change. If there's any laws, any way he can come home, let the man home.
NBC News national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent Tom Winter. Tom, good morning. So
right here, he come to tell us how black people should be locked up forever and throw away the goddamn key. But you back in neo-Nazis in Ukraine, y'all don't give a shit about no gangs, criminal gangs. God damn it. These motherfuckers kick it with the leader of the Hells Angels. See, that's what's so disgusting about these people. They'll go kick it with the goddamn leader of the Hells Angels. It's all that's just a biker club. That's a fucking criminal organization. See, I'm sick of this shit. They're not finna get away with this.
So yesterday, Larry Hoover was commuted on a federal level by President Donald Trump. For people who don't understand what that means that basically, and we talked about this in Front Page News this morning, his charges on the federal level will be like excused or overlooked, but anything else you're still dealing with, you still have to deal with. And Larry Hoover is very much so still dealing with a 200-year sentence for murder on the state level.
State level, right?
Yeah, state level.
So he's not free.
No, he's not.
So people were saying welcome home and all that. He is not free.
He is not coming home. He is not walking out. Ain't no welcome home Larry Hoover
Remember,
parties.
I didn't even know what it meant. That's why I text you on the group line. What is commutation or what is commute?
Yes.
He was moving him from one person to the other. I didn't know.
Right.
Yeah. Chance the Rapper was one of the people who actually posted online. He didn't understand what was happening. Let's take a listen.
Hey, before I let y'all politicize this or memify this, I just got to say I am glad that Larry Hoover is home. And I got to remind y'all that he was a political prisoner that was set up by the federal government, that he created the
I bet you DL won't come out and say Larry Hoover deserves to come home. I bet you nobody who sided. I'm gonna see if anybody who sided with Kamala and Democrats are allowed to come out on behalf of Hoover. I don't expect to hear nothing from the Congressional Black Shoe Shiners. They're not allowed to speak up on our behalf or bring unity in the community or preach for peace. And see, Hoover is the example of going against the blackface Ku Klux Klan, denouncing them. None of these people that got no authority to be around here putting these kids into these criminal organizations. They've been using people's names, the founders of and lying, run around here acting like they got some credibility to be telling our kids to kill one another, and they don't. You see a man like Hoover come out, and you see the tears, you see the emotion. He tells you he was wrong, where he went wrong. That stir up the emotions in the youngsters. They know they wrong. And then them OGs who steady lying to them, then they know they are motherfucking deceptive deceivers.
what was it, Chicago votes. He did so many things to really mobilize our people, and he was really targeted for that. And so before get to cooning or doing whatever they finna do with this information, I just want to say I'm so glad that he's home, and God bless his family, and yeah, thank God.
Chance hurt my feelings because that's just spreading such misinformation, and Chance is way smarter than that.
Yes.
You know, he if you just read a little bit more, Chance, you would know he's not coming home. But that just lets me know.
I'm glad. Salute, Brother Jay. I'm glad you said that, because you just brought up to get out the ADX. People ain't even talking about that. That man just got out of 23-1. That man just got out of 23 days lockdown, 23 hours lockdown, one day to come out. No fucking contact with nobody. He couldn't even touch his mail. He had to read his mail on the screen. That man locked up like Bin Laden. That's the fucking truth. You know, ask any psychologist, do you know what type of cruel and unusual punishment they done to that man? For him to have any sanity, he beat the odds. He supposed to be out of his mind. He beat the odds. Now it's gonna be a whole, while he fighting to come home, to him, any prisoner, he gonna be like, oh man, wow. He can play dominoes with some brothers. He can play cards with some brothers. You know, he get to have some brothers around him and can communicate with brothers. That right there is a great goddamn thing.
All Chance did was read the headlines.
Yeah.
Or saw Jay Prince's post. Jay Prince of Laugh a Lot. Over in Houston.
Rap a lot.
Rap a lot. Sorry. Rap a lot.
This has to stop.
He don't even laugh.
Rap
a lot.
Now this is disgusting.
This is great.
Rap a lot.
Rap a lot. Rap a lot.
Laugh a lot.
Sorry, y'all. Okay, though. My bad. OGs, my bad. OGs. Rap a lot posted yesterday, and when he posted, his caption literally said, Larry Hoover has been pardoned by Donald Trump. So even when I posted it and people were upset, I posted it exactly with what Jay Prince said, because I knew people were going to be upset about it, because it doesn't mean that he's walking out of
that's not even accurate.
Anywhere to there tomorrow.
He wasn't pardoned.
He was commuted. So to explain a bit really quick who Larry Hoover was, he was the co-founder of the Gangster Disciples, which was a Chicago-based gang that, according to police, engaged in drug trafficking, extortion.
Really unlock the door now. He gonna get to walk through. Trump know what he doing. And I heard, I forgot what show I was watching yesterday. They say Trump had $1 million a plate event. $1 million a plate event. And that's legal. To where to get into this place, to meet some of these bigwigs, you have to pay $1 million for your seat. I'm pretty sure NBA Youngboy and them people was up in there. A lot of other people was up in there. Who knows? Jay Prince probably was up in there too.
And murder, which is why he's going through everything he's going through right now.
That's how you get these type of.
Now we talked to Larry Hoover's son because I was trying to get clarification for you guys on.
You got to pay to play. This ain't no joke. They want all clean and legit money. Trump taking all legitimate paper. He cleaning up right now. $1 million a plate. An event took place.
What this actually means and what the state level looks like for Larry Hoover right now. There was so much misinformation going around with a lot of people thinking that, what we saw yesterday with Trump and everything that was announced with Larry Hoover meant that your dad was going to walk out of, federal prison and, be clear of everything today, like right now.
Right. So I've been speaking on this anytime I was interviewed, and I was trying to let people know that he was being held under dual jurisdiction, which is he's been held under state law and he has been held under federal law all at the same time. So he still had two cases to fight. So he had to fight the federal case and he still had to fight the state case. So now he's dealing with the state case. I don't really know the law on it. I heard that it was illegal to help hold a person under dual jurisdiction, which they don't usually do, but they never uplifted the state case when they took him into federal custody. So now we're dealing with.
See, usually from what I saw when I was sitting in prison, usually the feds, they let you sit every inmate in there. They dread that. During your state time, and then when you get parole or then the feds pick your ass up and bring you to federal prison. That's what niggas be hating, like, damn, I wanted to. Even with a gun charge, you could have got caught with a measly firearm, bro, in the state of Texas. Go to state. And you got to be on eggshells wondering if them people going to come get you and take you to federal prison for their weapons charge. That's how I usually go. But to go from the feds to the state, that's what he's saying. He don't know too much about that. And me neither. But I know they can give him time served. They got the right to give him time fucking served. And I know something called the old law. He an OG. He under old law. Old law is different than new law. You see what I'm saying? Them old law cats, it's certain shit you can and can't do to them. They can't give you the same guidelines and shit that's with these new laws. It's old laws that actually is written in that give you opportunities to come home. And that's what they're going to find out. And like I said, the governor, he got opportunity to show he a racist, bigoted, small hat bastard who don't give a fuck about our people. And that's going to, this is what Trump probably letting the Democrats do, bury themselves even more by not helping this black man come home after all this time who want to do nothing more than help the people.
State law now.
So, I know that you guys have like this movement that you're trying to do where when it comes to the state things, you guys are asking for like local leadership that would actually be able to do anything. So is it like lessen the sentence or what are you asking for on the state level?
Okay, so my father is actually a C number. And C numbers were because, people have a misunderstanding of everything that's going on. People are talking about the narrative of who they say my father is and what he has done. We're going back to his state case. And he was sentenced as a C number. A C number were men that were sentenced in the 70s, and they gave him indeterminate sentences. So his sentence was to be at least 200 years, and he has to go to the parole board every, it was supposed to be every year. And when we went to court last, they wanted to make it 5 years, but the lawyers fought and they made it 3 years. So the C numbers go to the parole board. They don't have a determined amount of time. They go to the parole board and it's up to them to decide whether they deserve to be paroled. And when my father went to be paroled last time, they said that he didn't do what they needed him to do, even though he was in the ADX, and it was no way possible for him to do the things that they needed him to do. They were saying like, oh, you didn't take classes, you didn't do this to try to show that you was.
I believe another thing that he would never say it, Jay will never say it, nobody ever speak on it, but I'm pretty sure the federal government, he didn't want to set up, he didn't try to set up Jay Prince or help them bring. If he would have in any way got some of his underlings, big meat type tactics to get Jay Prince from prison to bring him home, they would have let Larry Hoover go. I'm pretty sure, ain't nobody can tell me shit that the federal government did not go to Larry Hoover and say, give us information on Jay Prince. Because that's what they really wanted to stop, nigga. Jay Prince, after they had Hoover, and they seen Hoover had goddamn me start messing with Jay, and that all that clout. Now we know what that is. All that clout he was lending Jay to do his thing and some street credibility. Jay got a street credibility, but nigga, when he had Hoover calling in and saying shit on them Rap A Lot CDs, we young, we growing up, we hearing that like, damn, boy, Jay fuck with Hoover. That was big for Rap A Lot. Jay making millions, and they know that's clean money, and that can go to help Hoover and his family sustain themselves. Even when they stop letting Hoover sell his merchandise on the album, they tell you Rap A Lot start selling the merchandise through their CDs. I'm pretty sure they want to put an end to that any way they could.
Thankful that you regret what you did, but at the same time, he's locked in a closet underground in Colorado.
And then when I posted it online, I knew that the natural pushback would be, but this man is responsible for, like I mentioned, there is alleged drug trafficking, extortion, and murder.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked his son,
you can do all of that in the kingdom of God and get your redemption. See, I don't want to play. I'm not here to play those fucking games. You can do all that stuff, but once you're redeemed, you're redeemed. And like I say, America is the last place you want to ever in your life quit. Do America want us to believe that they haven't changed? Because I don't believe they have. But we say, they said a man can't change after murder. Give me listen to stuff, drug dealing. Okay, check America. What else y'all say Hoover did? Because I'm pretty sure whatever you say he did, you did times 1,000. You got blood on your goddamn hands, America. Don't you talk to us about nobody's past. That's serious motherfucking business, bro. We won't tolerate that. Don't tell us none of our elders can't change. That's disrespectful as fuck. None of our seniors can come home. And the reason I'm just the right person to be pissed off about that, because they look in my face and tell me I can't do shit with my life. Used to be this, used to be that. I ain't finna be stuck in who I was. This is who I am now, righteous man. You not gonna hang that on me and make me have to be shame myself in the community. Yeah, we know what you did. That's what I done. Who am I now? That's why I say the story of Saul of Paul. This shit hit different for me. I'm not gonna let these people pretend like just because we was once criminal gangsters, we can't help the people. It's an everyday thing. You ain't never done enough. Cool. We gotta do this till we die. But I'll be damned if they hang that on our motherfucking heads like, no, we supposed to go into the night and just live in darkness forever. I'll be damned, nigga. Neither should Hoover.
This is how people feel. They feel like we're glorifying someone who caused all of these things in the community. What do you say to that? And here's what he said.
Glorifying. Y'all glorify Billy the Kid. Fucking cop killing an outlaw. You glorify Jesse. Oh, y'all want to do this? You glorify Jesse James. You made all these movies about a cop killer, a bank robber, and a Confederate criminal. You glorified Al Capone. You glorified bootlegging gangsters. You glorified the Gambinos. You done it, America. You made money off of them. The hell you glorified the Hell's Angels. You glorify your own criminals. You glorify them. You make them Hollywood stars. I'll never forget sitting here and watching a movie star called a series on TV called Mob Wives. Living like the Gottis. Who the hell you think you're talking to? Oh, we can't watch Living Like the Hoovers? Oh, you want to cry. But we got to watch the Gotti family live like kings and queens off of a criminal empire. I mean, come on, man. We cannot allow these people to talk to us and think we're so stupid when we do know that President Kennedy's father was a damn bootlegger. You glorified that shit when it's good for you. Oh, but for us, you want to seize everything, strip us of everything, and shake your hand in our face. Say, oh, you niggas got that the wrong way.
People that say that, they don't understand who he is. They're listening to the narrative of people that don't know what they're talking about. Can they tell you people that he has caused to be killed, or that he has said kill or killed himself? He's been in prison all of this time. Right now, we're fighting a state case that happened when he was 22 years old, when he was a baby. And they said that he gave the call for somebody to be murdered. And his rap on the case.
You know what's so crazy about a lot of this shit, and that's why they respect the mafia so much because they'll tell you the mafia know not to kill police and don't kill the judges. And you if you listen to these people, they'll tell you that it's rules that the murder had, that the law can respect. White society can respect. The criminal nature of the man, get the fuck out of here. Hoover is a humble man. He could have had these people whacked. He didn't want that for these crooked ass judges and these people come on TV instead of trying to keep him in custody. He's a humble family. But that's how they like to catch you. See, when they know you really changed, you're humble, that's when they really want to turn the screws. Because they know you're not going to send nobody over there to their house and wipe their motherfucking no good ass out. They know you really changed. If he was anything like they're saying, oh, come on, man, would they really even be coming on TV slandering him like this?
Said that he did the murder and he was released. That's what we're fighting with right now, right? The stuff that those people are talking about are hearsay, rumors. I'm not saying that my father wasn't in leadership at one point and wasn't involved in the streets, but he's had transformation. He was a illiterate, dyslexic child when he went to jail. He taught himself how to read. He taught himself how to become a man. He educated himself. He went to college. He became a paramedic. You know, he taught classes, but he went in as a dyslexic kid. He couldn't read. And he taught himself. Nobody taught him. Like, people are speaking of who they think he is and what the rumors of him are. They don't know who he is. They need to they need to hear real information instead of listening to rumors that have been passed around the city. See, we fighting the monster.
Another problem that happened, I keep bringing this up. You had Larry Hoover, you had Jeff Ford, and the leadership was put on Hoover because he just was more so rising to the top. You know what I'm saying? Amongst these type of individuals, rough individuals, you know, he was rising to the top. So they really forced that on him. He wasn't trying to seize that kingdom. It was placed on him. And I've seen them stories from Shorty, but I ain't getting on that. But anyway, you had Hoover, you had Jeff Ford, and you had Fred Hampton. And FBI was trying to start so much BS, but they were trying to get unity sit downs. And this is and Hoover and Jeff Ford respected Fred Hampton. And I always say this. So you got these three. You got two dudes as leaders of these youth movements, or we call them gangs, these organizations, which they trying to be political. They trying to teach our people how to vote. Jeff Ford had got over $1 million from the way before Big U. Jeff Ford had got the vote out. That's a fact. That's why his ass is locked up in prison. They won't want to bring him back and call him a terrorist because he did say to get some money from Libya, allegedly was willing to do terrorism, but he was a serious man. But anyway, the federal government out of Hoover, Jeff Ford, and Fred Hampton, the man they picked to kill Fred Hampton, the man who had committed no violence, who was trying to do the best for the community. They set off a chain reaction of bullshit in Chicago because it was only one man who really was amongst those giants who was respected to sit them down and say, hey, Jack, enough is enough. That was Fred Hampton, and they killed him.
Monster, the picture that they painted. But they don't know anything about Larry Hoover. If they know about Larry Hoover, they would understand that he wants the same thing that these people want. He's not for kids dying in the streets. He's not for ladies being raped and harmed. He's not for, man, he's a peaceful individual. He's for everything for Black people.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for joining us. And what's your call to action? I saw something on the live yesterday. You guys were tagging. Who's the person you guys are tagging? Is it the governor, mayor?
Yeah, it's at Governor Christmas.
This is called chasing it all time high. Lady, you don't know nothing what you're talking about. You call Rap A Lot, Laugh A Lot records, bro. Why are you even on here, lady? Why you don't even know? You don't even know the story. Is the governor? Is the mayor? The mayor gonna pardon Hoover? Come on, man. That go to show you. I put some respectable people on here to talk to this man of honor about what's going on with his father. Not some lady who she showed up at work today and here's a story. Nah, this shit too serious for that type of BS.
His Instagram and then his Gmail is governor@illinois.gov. .gov. We want to reach out to Governor Pritzker to ask him to sign the paper to give my father a second chance at life. We're fighting a case from when he was 22 years old, in which his rappy said that he committed the crime and he was released.
Jay Prince already said he willing. I list his words. He willing to, and I'm gonna play some of that. I might got those words. He willing to back politically whoever doing the right thing for the community. He say he's not picking sides. He can't say, hey, I would back Trump or the people who, he said people looking out for our people. He's saying looking out for Hoover is looking out for our people, and I feel that way a lot. I definitely feel that way. And also, we need a side to be able to see in this community. We need a lot of those Panthers to come home. This ain't no, we got a lot, but we're in the fight. We can bring a man like Hoover home who want peace. This is the big fucking peace alert. This big unity in the community when you mention a man like Larry Hoover, because I know what he gonna say, and I know there's nobody who can say anything different than what he's saying. They don't have the respect. Yeah, it's a bunch of knuckleheads who don't care what nobody say. There's a lot of niggas who don't give a fuck what their father say, but it's a bunch of people who do care, and who, they word matter. They need to hear the message from the man in person. I'll go hear that message in person, my goddamn self, and live streaming.
We're not fighting. We shouldn't be fighting the rumors. We should be fighting what the real situation is. That was the problem in the first place. If the law applied, he would have been released because of the law. Everybody that was on his case with him, they was released because of the First Step Act, because the time didn't amount for the time that they gave.
All right.
And
First Step Act, and we're gonna get to that a little bit later. Nobody want to talk about that. Donald Trump blessed the people with that. A lot of black people came home off the First Step Act. A lot of them. Reversing, and this was so crazy, what Joe Biden and the damn Democrats had done with the mandatory minimums. It's so crazy, mandatory minimums. We talk about mandatory minimums in the black community because a lot of us done had to do them. Your minimum is mandatory. You do 5 years. Well, the Democrats brought that to the game, and Joe Biden smiled about it because he said he wanted to deal with the crack dealers. He get caught with a piece of little crack, 5 years, and he smiled. Well, Trump reversed that with the First Step Act. See, this is stuff, and I got a lot of problems with a lot of what Trump been doing, but politics, and this is what we all got to understand, and me, myself, even more, politics is not a zero-sum game. It's not an all or nothing. That's not what it is. And we got to understand that.
All of his rappies were released, but because he was Larry Hoover, they didn't agree with the law. And I had to thank Donald Trump for going above the law to give my father an opportunity. And now, as far as the state case is concerned, can we please follow the law? We're supposed to believe in justice, and if we're supposed to believe in justice and follow the law needs to work for us. And our governor says he believes in transformation. He believes in rehabilitation. He believes in
Democrats say that. The Democrats say they believe in everything except when it really applies to us. The Democrats preach that's their fucking platform. Unfair practices in the criminal justice system. You know, if it was in, I'm trying to tell you, bro, it's just this, and it's crazy Trump did this, that he took this, the Democrats, if the Democrats did it, the Republicans would have fought this. Trump did it. Now it's right in the Democrats' court. Slam the basketball, but they don't want to say Trump threw him the alley-oop. They don't want to tie him to this. But it's gonna cost it. If they don't do this, if they leave that man in state prison, it might shatter him ever, because Jay Prince telling him he gonna stop backing him. He's saying it. I'm gonna stop back because you're doing this now, Democrats. That's why I say this was a hell of a move Trump pulled, because you're gonna be the one holding Hoover, not the Republicans and not the federal government. It's gonna be the Democrats. It's Illinois' governor problem now, and he's a Democrat.
Redemption, and my father has rehabilitated himself. He has transformed from the young man that he once was, and he deserves redemption. He's fought. I mean, he's been there. Imagine living in a closet for 30 years. Close your eyes and go in your closet and stay there. Can you stay there for 30 years? You don't think he's regretful for what he did? Do you think he would be interested in coming back to the world and being a part of criminology? He's a senior. He's an elderly man. This picture behind me is not who he is right now.
Larry Hoover is not. There's no welcome home. Larry.
How can Sammy the Bull Gravano be podcasting, glorified all over the internet, and he killed dozens of people, bragged about it, and the federal government didn't feel like he was no threat to society? But they say, oh, it's just some cases. What? Sammy the Bull? Well, Hoover was one of the most powerful. Sammy the Bull was one of the most powerful men in the motherfucking world. The Gambino family, one of the most powerful organizations in the motherfucking world. You see, they think we stupid. Right now in face, players. Don't tell me Hoover can't come home and I gotta watch these cutthroat gangsters, Italians, all over the internet bragging about their bodies, and you let them out. Nah, we're not going for that. We're not going for that.
Larry Hoover parties today or tomorrow. It's not happening. They're trying to get things handled on a state level. But even if so, what I think and what they're trying to do is they want less. They know that there's no way that he's going to walk free 100%, but they want less. They feel like it's over excessive. And as you heard his son say, they feel like he's a changed person now. He should be looked at as that.
Okay. Yeah, 200 years in prison is crazy. But I can't see it happening only because of who the governor is. The governor is JB Pritzker. He's a Democrat.
Yeah, they trying to put some, I guess, pressure on him, get the public to start writing letters and things like that. But
JB don't give a damn.
They were online yesterday on Instagram Live. I was on there. They was on there for about an hour, getting people to tag him and saying call his office. And I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work because
you want to officially flip Chicago red? Trump, oh God, Trump put a reverse Uno. They is way behind. You want to officially flip Chicago red and Illinois? You want to lose that state to the Republicans? You better listen to Jay Prince. They're gonna put their money into this. Is Jay Prince. He got to stick it all in this fight. He's gonna help y'all lose if y'all don't do the right thing and take some of this good. We better give the Democrats a pat on the back if they can release this brother. You see, they can even the game a little bit with Trump. Trump will be like, ha, 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 nice move. But if you don't, he gonna know it's game over for your ass in Chicago. It already was almost game over for your ass just this election. But you're gonna lose more credibility amongst blacks if you don't do the right motherfucking thing, bro. A lot of us got pawpaws, uncles and all that locked up. They ain't Hoover, but we got some people. You don't want your pawpaw home? Just think about if it's your. I just think my people. They want me home. They do. Man, let that man come home. With my brothers. Oh, man, hell no. Let that man come home. Man, if it be 80-something in a few years. Don't tell me what. Don't tell me some shit that happened in the 70s.
Larry Hoover was such a big name. The case was such a big thing. Like, I don't know if he cares. And then, yeah.
Okay.
So that's it.
Well, that is the latest with Lauren. You heading to court now?
You know, and I wanted to see, I said that in my video yesterday, I wanted to see how Jay Prince was going to react to this. Was he just going to thank Hoover getting out and not say anything towards Trump? But I see Jay is a very intelligent man, and he's not going to sit here and give a shit how the Democrats feel. I wanted to see this. Was he going to look them Democrats right in their motherfucking eyes and say, y'all ain't doing the right thing? I'm going to praise this man for what he just did for Trump. The Democrats, they understand this. They understand what time it is. More black people do this. Say, oh, the hell with y'all, man. Y'all, it's other blacks should have been let loose. They didn't free them. They could have. They don't give a shit.
But, you know, the Creator opened the gates up and allowed him to be free. And the beautiful thing about him is he don't take his freedom for granted. You know what I mean? He free, and he ain't forgot where he came from. You know what I mean? That's my brother there who spoke about that sleeping giant. You know, me and him was kicking it on the intro of the Ghetto Boys. When he said they scared of him because he know how to awaken that sleeping giant.
That's
And
how
that
I
was
found out who Larry Hoover was. I didn't know who Larry Hoover was. I learned out who Larry Hoover was through the Ghetto Boys. So that's one thing a lot of people they already knew, but I didn't know. I didn't know who Larry Hoover was. I didn't know who no gangster disciples and all that. I didn't know all about that down here where we was at. I learned about that in the power of Larry Hoover, and then through Rap-A-Lot Records and Jay Prince. Not saying they was doing a lot for each other. Larry was getting a lot of street credibility. Jay had credibility, but Larry had some serious credibility in deep in them streets. And his movement had some. And Jay was doing what nobody else was brave enough to do. And that was help Larry get his message out. Nobody even heard from no Larry Hoover. He did on Rap-A-Lot Records. He got to talking and spit some real political knowledge. They were scared of that.
so powerful things that were being said. And that's what we looking forward, to the day in his freedom, so we can awaken the sleeping giant and so many that sleep and that won't listen to those that they don't respect. I look forward to the day of being able to share that journey, share that walk, share that creativity with my brother on how to free a lot of our people out of bondage. And every politician that's for that, we're going to be with them too. You know what I mean? The real ones that's really for our people, then that's who's going to get my vote. You know what I mean? The real politicians that's for our people. I don't discriminate.
Well, he's a leader that.
Now, that was his warning to J.B. Pritzker and to the Congressional Black Shoe Shiners and to the Democrats. If y'all sit out this fight and y'all leave Hoover locked up, y'all not going to be getting none of that backing no more. Y'all not be getting all that backing from the community because y'all not with us. And as a man who's paying that big money to those benefits and things and to those campaigns, he just told you who's going to get his backing, his vote. What do you think the backing of Jay Prince is? That's large amounts of money to your political campaign and from people he know.
That need to be free right now, that can really lead us in the struggle we're dealing with right now. Definitely where Chicago is concerned, but I consider him a political prisoner as well. You know what I mean? He someone who they want us to forget about. They put you behind the walls that he behind. They want us to forget about him, but here's the good news where he concerned. And what I really believe, I believe he'll be home real soon.
Nobody wins when the family feels partnership. That's how it got to be two kings and two princes.
Name the two kings and name the two princes.
David Boxdale and Larry Hoover combined makes up the king of the Black Gangster Disciples. Tennessee and a brother named Old Timer was their prince.
Someone tell Kanye and Kim to just stick to the script and just tell them to free Larry Hoover.
I think I'm Big Meech. Larry Hoover. Whipping work.
So, let me ask you, this record came out with Rick Ross, and he says Larry Hoover. What was your thoughts on that? Because you from the Chi. So when you heard this record, did you take it as disrespect, or how did you take it?
Yeah, I took it as respect. What's your feelings on?
Well, I like the fact that he kept the name alive and put him into the limelight, but I always had a problem that he said his name and then said whipping work. You know what I mean? And he's fighting for his life. So I wouldn't want him to speak on him about whipping work and him and drugs. His federal case that he's dealing with right now is a drug case.
Now, if you look at the federal indictment and incarceration of some GDs out of Atlanta, the court cases strictly say, documents, Rick Ross paid $3 million to them people after they pressed him and his car was shot up in Miami over that mistake that he made, using that man's name and then putting drugs next to it and all that type of shit. That was a $3 million mistake that he made.
So it's very important for me to get Hoover out, because in an alternate universe, I am him.
Muted the federal sentence of Lary Hoover, founder of the Chicago street gang, the Gangster Disciples.
Family, in this video, we dive into the compelling story of Lary Hoover, a man whose life and legacy have sparked decades of debate and activism. I plan on exploring who Lary Hoover is, his roots in Chicago's South Side, and his rise of his organization, the Gangster Disciples, also known as the GDs. The focus on this video will be on understanding the circumstances that led to his arrest, the changes he faced, and why his case remained a significant point of discussion and fight for justice. Now, I want to be clear from the start. I'm not here to judge whether Lary Hoover was a good man or not. That's for each of you to decide. My role is to present the facts, examine the structure of his alleged gains, and explain how his journey, which initially aimed for community improvement, unfortunately landed him 4 life sentences. Throughout this video, we also going to highlight the sacrifices made by Hoover's family, and also by influential people like J. Prince Jr., Kanye West, and even Drake, and the countless advocates who have tirelessly worked to shed light on what they believe.
Not J. Prince Jr., J. Prince Sr.
is an unjust imprisonment. We'll examine the story from multiple angles without giving an angle. And those angles are societal, legal, and personal, to give a comprehensive view of why many see Hoover's incarceration as more than just a criminal case, but as simple as systematic issues that need addressing. Finally, we'll discuss the current efforts to seek justice for Lary Hoover, which leads us to why we're making this story today. Our current president, Donald Trump, has recently pardoned Lary Hoover within the last 24 hours. Also, he pardoned a well-known rapper from Louisiana, NBA Youngboy. So before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I won't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll jump right to it. Lary Hoover was born in 1950 in Chicago's South Side, an area plagued by poverty, violence, and systematic neglect. Growing up amidst these hardships, Hoover became involved in the street life at a very young age, eventually founding the Gangster Disciples in the late 1970s. Originally, Hoover envisioned the organization as a community force group aimed at protecting residents from violence and providing social services, a stark contrast to how many outsiders later perceived it.
In 1969, we combined forces and we established 2 kings and 2 princes. I was very instrumental in the disciples and the gangsters coming together. When I went to jail in 1968 for failure to register a gun and unlawful use of a weapon, I met David Boxdale while I was in the House of Correction. We was at odds when we first met. After a while, he began to love me and I began to love him as my brother. When I came out of jail in 69, Hoover was the ambassador of the Stones. We had a nation meeting of the gangsters, and I said I wasn't going to be no Stone. That night, Hoover called Jeff Ford and told him that he could no longer be a Stone or ambassador of the Stones.
Wait a minute. Who called who now? Say that again.
Hoover called Jeff Ford.
Right.
And told him that he could no longer be affiliated with the Stones. And I believe he did that out of his love for me. The next day, Jeff came to 680 Green and wanted to try to straighten it out. We wouldn't hear of it. So he left with a little anger. About 6 months later, 6 or 7 months later, with me talking to Larry and me also keeping in contact with David, I had a chance to bring them together. And we sat and we decided that it would be an equal partnership. That's how it got to be 2 kings and 2 princes.
Name the 2 kings and name the 2 princes.
David Boxdale and Larry Hoover combined makes up the king of the Black Gangster Disciples. Tennessee and a brother named Old Timer was their prince, their second in charge.
His organization adopted a code of
Now,
conduct, emphasizing
another brother who tell us a completely different story who say they placed the crown on Larry's head in jail. There was a bunch of problems and a bunch of people disagreed. Then they placed it on Larry's head. Larry wasn't particularly trying to be the leader. Last year, right there, they make it sound like Larry wanted to be equal to David Boxdale. These other niggas say that's not true. That's not true. He wasn't worried about that. And how you could tell he wasn't worried about that, he just was the ambassador for Jeff Ford. That's how it's a fact that he didn't have no ego. And that's something you got to put. He was meant to be who he was meant to be. He didn't have an ego. He was going to be that regardless if he was making moves on behalf of Jeff Ford or David Boxdale. He was meant to just rise to the top. You see what I'm saying? But the crazy part is we haven't heard officially for him. This shit, you talking about a motherfucking story. Whoever can get the documentary for Hoover to tell his own story, that's going to be crazy.
as in discipline and respect, but it also became entangled in Chicago's violent drug wars. The gangster disciples grew rapidly, attracting both supporters and enemies. Hoover's leadership was seen as both a protector and a threat, depending on who you asked. Over the years, Hoover's name became synonymous with power, influence, and controversy. It was rumored that Larry Hoover would take taxes from anyone who sold narcotics on his territory. You had to pay. It was alleged that the money was for lawyers, firearms.
I'll never forget hearing that. That was one of the most powerful videos I heard in my life, and that's when I knew Larry Hoover was a serious individual. And it's when the feds was bugging his phone calls when he didn't know it. He didn't know he should have been talking on them phones in there. But they didn't know. That was the early days. You don't know till you know. And they was putting motherfucking microphones in the visitation passes. They did it to Jay Prince. It's just Jay didn't talk dirty. He just went there to check on the brother and shit like that. Never talked dirty business, which they wished he would have did. He wasn't no fool. They got Larry on. Everybody know this. They got Larry on tape telling people it's 7 days in a week. He want 2 measly days. I never forget that. Measly. He's like, it's just 2 little days, but he's serious. Those 2 days, what you make, it go to the GDs. If you in any GD territory, you in around anywhere GDA, you hustle 5 days. But on 2 days, whatever you make, you better give it to them, or they come and see your ass about that. That was a fact. That was going down.
Protection, to pay rent, and things that help the community. And the violence would increase when trying to take over more territory to receive more money for their narcotics. They had a distinct handshake. When someone else would claim their gain, depending on how they did their handshake, they would know if they was lying on that. But everything came crashing down for Larry Hoover in the late 1970s. Hoover's organization faced intense law enforcement scrutiny. In 1979, Hoover was arrested and charged with multiple crimes, including federal racketeering. The government painted him as a criminal mastermind behind violence and drug trafficking, leading to a series of convictions. Hoover was sentenced to multiple life terms, and his incarceration was seen by many as a blow to efforts at community reform.
Police as the leader of the state's largest and most dangerous street gang. Johnny Mom is here with the latest.
Criminal mastermind that Joe Kennedy was, the father of President John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy. They father he rose to the top of the illegal bootleg. See, when you're a genius, you just use that stuff to survive and rise to the top of where you at. Al Capone was these people, they just the criminal world, they just slandered us with when we got to survive where we at. He survived where he's at. And guess what? A bunch of criminals was there. But he absolutely was a genius, because I remember way back in the day, they said that he was running the GD like a Fortune 500 company. And I didn't know what the fuck a Fortune 500 company was. But way back in the day, they said that, man, he had the idea, man, he need to export his business, his idea to different places. Just like he was on a whole nother level on as far as what black men was thinking to do with some neighborhood shit.
Latest on today's raid. Joni?
Sonia and Dave, authorities believe Larry Hoover is running an enormous gang operation from inside the Dixon Correctional Center where he is housed. Chicago, Illinois, and IRS agents carried out a federal warrant at the offices of Save the Children Promotions, looking for evidence of income tax evasion and money laundering. The 44-year-old acknowledged leader of the Black Gangster Disciples has been in prison since 1973 for a drug-related murder. At several parole hearings, he's claimed he's a changed man who is no longer violent. Today, police spent about 2 hours combing through the records of Save the Children on the South Side. They seized half a dozen cardboard boxes and file cabinets of financial records and also $7,000 in cash. Police say the charity organization has legitimate operations, but they also believe it is a front for an effort to get Hoover out of jail. Police believe that Hoover has been running drug trafficking in the city of Chicago from his jail cell, and that potential tax law violations may be a way to dismantle the gang. Police also went to the home of Hoover's wife, Lindy Jenkins, where they also just took some records. And they haven't said yet exactly what they found in those records, or they found records with some amounts, but they did not find any drugs, and they haven't had any charges yet.
Do a extensive amount of time. It can have two effects. It can harden you, or it can make you think. And I thought.
See, the problem with Hoover and Jeff Fort at that time, and that's why him and Jeff Fort, they real friends because they go back a long time. And I would love for Hoover to speak on that at any time. But the change that they made, but they too powerful. You can't have a young black man with so much power, and when they switch to politics and start talking about getting out the vote, that scared the hell out the government. And I start learning a bunch. I'm listening. That scared the hell out the goddamn government. You're telling thousands, tens of thousands of people who to look into for a vote. We talk that switch seats in Chicago, in the city offices. That absolutely your one word. Flip the seats. You have the right to say who's gonna be the motherfucking mayor. It's nobody else in Chicago can tell thousands of people who would know. They could try to sway hundreds and things of that nature. They couldn't. They can't have that. They couldn't have that type of shit. They had seen that shit since Al Capone.
What have you thought? What are the thoughts like on a day-to-day basis? Incarceration. Well, basically, you think about preparing yourself for the future and preparing yourself for one day when you will return to the streets. Are you prepared? Yes, I'm prepared. I've got employment. I want to do something for the community. I see these kids coming in here every day with 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Their life wasted.
Now, throughout the years, supporters argued that Hoover's convictions were politically motivated and that he was made a scapegoat for Chicago's violent streets. Critics, however, maintained that Hoover's organization was deeply involved in illegal activities. Over the years, Hoover's case has become a symbol of systematic issues.
The FBI was starting shit between Hoover, between the Hoover, the Black Peace Stones, and Jeff Ford. It's a fact. They just like Malcolm in the Nation of Islam, they writing them letters. They wrote them. They tried to start a war with the Black Panthers and the Peace Stones and Hoover because they knew Jeff Ford, and they started to kill him because he was way too powerful. And he was a man like Jeff Ford could have pulled Hoover and a man like Fred Hampton, could have pulled Jeff Ford and Hoover all the way political. You see what I'm saying? They couldn't have that. So get rid of the righteous guy, then the turmoil gonna break loose, and they had the other two fight each other. But they didn't want these powerful men sitting down together and then running politics in the Black community. No preacher, nobody was gonna have more power than them men amongst Black people, and that was a big problem.
Questions about justice, corruption, and the criminal justice system's treatment of Black leaders. Throughout the years, many figures stepped forward to advocate for Hoover's release. One of the most prominent supporters was rapper and activist Kanye West, who publicly called for clemency and highlighted the injustice of Hoover's lengthy imprisonment. Other influential voices, like Drake and Jay Prince, have also spoken out, emphasizing the importance of second chances.
It was mind-blowing, you know what I mean? Because not only was he up on that, his thinking ability, impressed me. And a lot of people thinking ability don't impress me. So, you know, we was able to have conversations that went so deep until I'm like, we got to share this with the world. You know, we can't keep this to ourselves. And that's how that intro came about. You know what I mean? Because I want to expose, you know, the lies of, you know, how people was trying to paint this picture of Larry Hoover. I want to expose the intellect, I mean, that I had tapped into. And, you know, we done that, man. We done that against the threats of all them people calling me. If you do this, we gonna, you know, I wouldn't try.
During Trump's first term as the United States president, Kanye West was invited to the White House, and he spoke on telling Trump to free Larry Hoover.
It's because he started doing positive for the community. He started showing that he actually had power, that he wasn't just one of a monolithic voice, that he could wrap people around. So there's theories that there's infinite amounts of universe and there's alternate universe. So it's very
revolutionary. Salute to our Queen Sandy G for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is where life. Absolutely appreciate the love, Queen. Salute to you.
important for me to get Hoover out because in an alternate universe, I am him. And I have to go and get him free because he was doing positive inside of Chicago, just like how I'm moving back to Chicago. And it's not just about, you know, getting on stage and being an entertainer and having a monolithic voice that's forced to be a specific party. You know, people expect that if you're Black, you have to be Democrat. I've had conversations that basically said that welfare is the reason why a lot of Black people end up being Democrat. They say, you know, first of all, it's a limit to amount of jobs. So the fathers lose the jobs and they say, we'll give you more money for having more kids in your home. And then we got rid of the mental health institutes in the 80s and the 90s, and the prison rates just shot up. And now you have Chirac, what people call Chirac, which is actually our murder rate is going down by 20% every year. I just talked to the superintendent, met with Michael Sachs, that's Rom's right-hand man. So I think it's the bravery that helps you beat this game called life. You know, they tried to scare me to not wear this hat, my own friends, but this hat, it gives me power in a way. You know, my dad and my mom separated, so I didn't have a lot of male energy in my home. And also, I'm married to a family that, you know, not a lot of male energy going on. It's beautiful though, but there's times where, you know, it's something about, you know, I love Hillary, I love everyone, right? But the campaign, I'm with her, just didn't make me feel as a guy that didn't get to see my dad all the time, like a guy that could play catch with his son. There was something about when I put this hat on, it made me feel like Superman. You made a Superman. That's my favorite superhero. And you made a Superman cape for me also as a guy that looks up to you, looks up to Rap Lauren, looks up to American industry guys, non-political, no bullshit, put the beep on it, however you want to do it, 5 seconds delay, and just goes in and gets it done. Right now, you gave me the heart to go to Adidas because at Adidas, when I went in 2015, we were a $14 billion company losing $2 billion a year. Now we have a $38 billion market cap. It's called the Yeezy effect.
Kanye doubled down and did a free Larry Hoover concert to help with attorney fees alongside Drake in 2021, located in LA.
The thousands of others who are locked behind prison bars, serving unjust prison sentences. Sometimes what you read about and what you hear about is not the full story.
And this is when Whack 100 went on his FBI campaign to bring down Jay Prince. This is exactly when it started. And Whack will tell you, Reggie White Jr., the cop, somehow, some way, got in touch with the lady who supposedly have the footage talking to Larry while he was locked up and all that type of nonsense, try to insinuate that lady was having some type of affair with Larry, and that's how she got all the inside scoop and all this BS. But anyway, and he went to Jay Prince to say, hey, so Reggie White Jr., the cop that Sugar's exposing right now, went to Whack 100, hey, this lady, she got the footage. She want to do a good business deal with Hoover and Jay Prince. Could you go to Jay? It was a setup by the FBI from the beginning. Wack went to Jay. Jay didn't like his presentation. They wanted the footage. The woman saying, no, I own the footage. Y'all can have a percentage, and all the bullshit started from there with Wack and Jay. But this was at the time it was starting.
The full story is Lary Hoover was a young man who made a mistake, but that mistake should not define who he is as a 71-year-old man. We must remember Lary Hoover tonight. When one person goes to prison, their entire family goes with them. Their communities go with them. Their entire life is caught up in a system that does not recognize a redeemed life. So I'm asking you tonight, I'm pleading with you tonight to remember Lary Hoover, to take out of your mind everything that you may have read.
And during that time, Kanye West also had a press run. He decided to take Lary Hoover Jr. with him, expressing their efforts on trying to free Lary Hoover. Check out what Lary Hoover Jr. had to say while on the Drink Champs in 2021.
It's a positive thing. It's still open.
He
so
has
he
a
can come
chance to make it out because of the first step. He has a chance. Explain more to him.
Yeah, so that's why we building the team. When we go back, we want to have a stronger, just a stronger case for what we bring to them. So we
how
get
long has he
extra
been
help.
locked up?
Said over 40 years.
47 years. My mother was pregnant with me when he went to jail. I've been going to jail my whole life. Never been arrested.
Insanity, man.
When I was a kid, I used to get money from behind the toilet because he'd go in the bath. Well, that's how they made it look. He'd take me in the bathroom, get some money behind the toilet, give me $5. Come out, I was happy to see my father because I know I would get $5,
And
wow.
All right, listen. I just want to ask. Probably not even. What is? I'm not even qualified to ask this, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. So, at one point, was he the leader of this notorious gang? Because I know, but I don't really know.
I mean, there's no way around that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It is what it is. It grew. It started from somewhere.
Right.
And, as he got older, his understanding grew. And seeing young men coming to jail, he started doing other things. He, did things like you had to go to school if you was in there. When you came out, you were supposed to each one teach one in your community with, different things. It was a thing called growth and development. It was a book. They act like it was a negative thing, but
as he got wiser, growth and development here, but the feds weren't having that. He actually tried to do some righteous stuff, clean it up. He didn't understand that he was one day just got to totally separate from it because wasn't going to be no clean it up. He understand, but he tried to do something righteous with the Frankenstein that they had built.
Same way, like they say, the Crips started out as a positive, positive.
But it was a guideline from becoming, from being an outcast to society to becoming a part of society, and trying to have economical and political and just building our own community back up, But they said it was a game book.
Right. So what made you want to be involved?
Having economic and political freedom. Well, I was involved because all my niggas is GD.
Right.
We just all folks, and that's how we grew up and But
and what's the opposite? It's GDs and disciples. That's the opposite gang.
The opposite is Vivendi.
Did he just say Vivendi? Is that the people who own University?
Yes.
Jeez,
we not in the opposite gang at all. GDs and BDs and we all the same. We all on these blocks that we don't own, and we don't have any political say-so. And without political say-so, you cannot move your people forward. They can put whatever they want in the schools. They can put whatever they want in the food. They can put whatever they want in music. They can put whatever. Go ahead. What is it?
Yeah, but like he's saying, my father used to he had everybody together.
Wow.
You know what I mean? In peace to deal with situations in the community. Everybody. So all the different organizations.
And it's those,
you know what I mean?
It seemed
And
like
it's a lot
Chicago
of
got
different ones.
worse.
Anyone you name.
It seemed like Chicago got worse without the OGs in the building.
Definitely.
When I would go, I went to prison with my wife and with Common, and they had everyone on the yard. Then we went into what they call it, the high security. What's the name of the where it's
The
like
whole pretty much the boxes.
what was the more intense level?
You the hole?
No, but it wasn't a hole. It was just like glass like this, high security place. And I looked. Andre 3000, Kendrick, me, RZA. It was all the versions of us that it didn't work.
That's crazy.
I was looking at it, I was like,
that's crazy.
There's not too many styles of video game characters in this video game. It's like, I think it's like 8 archetypes or something. Right. It's like you get the same character. Why is it, this is not to detract from this, but why is it always a star quarterback and all this GTA, this simulation? But God, victory favors the brave. God love this. God say, we want Hoover home, use what you got.
Beautiful.
You know what I'm saying? Let's get the lawyer. And let me tell you what lawyer is. Just since we hit all red buttons, we got the lawyer that just got Cosby out.
Let me relax. But he got Cosby out?
Yeah. I ain't got the paperwork yet. So I'm going to come on this joint and try to save my family and keep my family together and try to save his family, my extended family, and pull our family together.
Hey, I just wanted to say, I know this your show and you come to give the flowers to Ye, but I want to give all y'all flowers for, allowing me the platform to put this message out here. It's been a long time. I've been fighting for a long time, and it just needs to go as far as it possibly can. So,
is there anything else that people could do to help?
Yeah. Well, at this point right now, you can just keep checking the Lary Hoover Project on Instagram.
Okay.
And that's where the information will start. It'll be passed out on what we're doing. We need maybe a petition or whatever it is we may need to do. You know what I mean?
Because you got to think of, sorry, but 47 years is kind of like a life sentence.
That is a life sentence.
It is
like he already served.
His children are grown. He got grandkids. That's a life sentence.
That's real talk.
I mean, the people on his case, the same exact case, filed the same paperwork home.
Many believe Hoover's case is emblematic of broader issues: the criminalization of Black leaders and the need for reform in justice system. Advocates argue that Hoover's incarceration has done more harm than good, and that his release could be a step forward healing communities that's impacted by violence. Fast forward almost 5 decades since Lary Hoover's first incarceration, in a historic turn, May 28, 2025, within the last 24 hours of me doing this video, President Donald Trump granted a pardon to Lary Hoover, along with the notable rapper NBA Youngboy. This unexpected move has reunited conversations around justice, redemption, and the power of presidential clemency. Social media has been flooded with reactions from influencers, celebrities, and ordinary supporters.
Muted the federal sentence of Lary Hoover, founder.
Never forget Joe Biden pardoned his whole family and all their criminal partners because the hundreds of millions, maybe billions, that they made off the Ukraine scandal and scheme. I don't want to hear the Democrats, they clutching their pearls right now, the fucking criminals.
Of the Chicago street gang, the Gangster Disciples. Hoover has been serving multiple life sentences and in a maximum security prison in Colorado for the murder of a 19-year-old neighborhood drug dealer. He is also serving a 200-year sentence.
Samuel Bull is online podcasting, and y'all don't come on here and talk about he killed 30 dozens of people with his own fucking hands and was one of the most powerful criminal organizations, not in New York, but in America. Sammy the Bull, the Gambinos. We don't want to hear it. He was indicted for the murder of a local drug dealer. When do y'all care about black men killing other black men? Oh, y'all don't like that? Now, we can't listen to these people, but this is disgusting. The founder of y'all don't know who founded it. Shit, shut up. Come on, it's just disgusting, man. We tired of it. Same old BS.
sentence in Illinois, but it's not clear if he'll be moved back to Illinois.
He won't tell you vote blue no matter who, and that's what they hate. This is his sin. Not telling black people vote for the Democrats. Telling them to stay. I will never forget it. And telling black people, he said, you got to put the guns down and head to them polls. Man, we was gangsters in the street. Young niggas listen to them rap a lot of records. And then we hear the OG saying, you got to put them guns down and head to the polls. That's how you fight back. They knew that was going to seep into the brains. They didn't want that message out to the people. Jay Prince did a very powerful move. Put it on records. Head to the polls. That's what my daddy was teaching me that. And here was Hoover, the so-called gang leader, teaching that. My daddy was telling me, boy, you want some real power, you got to get political power. You got to go down there and challenge them people. He was saying the same thing Hoover was preaching, but us gangsters, we listen to Hoover. Well, here Hoover's saying what my pops was saying. Come on, they couldn't have that.
To reserve what remains of that sentence. Hoover's son, Lary Hoover Jr., posted this photo on Instagram, a White House official holding the commutation with the president's signature. Much more on this breaking news story coming up at 5 and 6 o'clock.
Political power is key, man. That's the story of Hoover. Just the political power. When you see they stopped, they wouldn't have gave a shit if them niggas just wanted to be the rulers of Chicago street underworld shit. When they start saying, hell no, we're gonna choose who the mayor of Chicago is. Like, oh, what the fuck? Because they knew they can do that with thousands of votes. That's what mattered. They held the key to Chicago's politics. People don't understand that. They don't understand about flipping them seats. That was the sin. And they'll never forgive him for telling black people, if you really want to go at these people, you got to put them guns down, and you got to do it politically.
Now, Jay Prince also went to Instagram to voice his gratitude for Donald Trump alongside Kanye West, as he also thanked Drake for his support. Now, this recent pardon marks a new chapter in Hoover's story. A question remains. Will this lead to his full release? Or what does it say about the justice system and the power of influence? As the world watches, one thing is clear. Hoover's story has become a symbol of both struggle and hope for many. Whether you see him as a villain or a victim, the conversation about justice, redemption, and systematic reform continues. Fam, let me know how you guys feel about.
That's just like the Democrats killed Tookie Williams, R.I.P. Tookie. The man denounced that shit. He told the truth about them gangs and how destructive they is. Them people was pissed that he did that, man. They didn't give a shit. Nobel Peace Prize, and the Democrats did it. Never forget, Arnold Schwarzenegger did that. Killed them. They could have commuted his sentence. They didn't even have to release Tookie. That's what's so crazy. This ain't like who. They could have just commuted his sentence to life like they did Charles Manson, the serial killer, Charles Manson. But what did they do? No, founder of the Crips. Try to put all of the shit other lunatics and rogue motherfuckers was doing on his shoulders. That's crazy, but that's how I like to do black people. Like I say, they didn't do that shit with the Gambino bosses. No, hell no. They were founder of the. No, they didn't do none of that shit. All right, what you know and when you know it, go ahead, Sammy the Bull. You killed dozens of people. We'll let you out.
Lary Hoover is currently at the notorious Supermax prison in Colorado. His family hasn't been able to speak with him today to get his reaction to his commutation. Hoover still faces the remainder of a state prison sentence for murder, but his family is hoping for clemency from Governor Pritzker.
It's overwhelming. It's a long time coming. And we just want to hope it go all the way through.
The wife and son of Lary Hoover, after a 6 federal life sentence.
15 years, 13 years, 19 years for murder. I give him man 200 years. You see how they do? 200 years for the murder of a local drug dealer, so they say. They didn't do it. They don't care. 200 years. That's political. For the murder. You see how they keep going back to, they don't know. They ashaming themselves. When you reminding people, what they got 200 years for? For the local murder of a drug dealer. What? Y'all just gave Pookie 12 years he killed that boy up there, man. Y'all, Pookie already home. Shooting at more people, selling more dope. That's crazy, man.
Sentences were commuted by President Trump.
He deserves redemption. He deserves a second chance at being a part of this community. and he could be a benefit to this community if they want him to be a benefit to this community.
Hoover co-founded the Chicago Gangster Disciples, and while behind bars for a 1973 murder, federal prosecutors say he continued to run the gang's prolific multi-state drug operations.
If Larry Hoover said there was going to be a killing, there was a killing.
Lies.
Ron Safer was the lead federal prosecutor who secured Hoover's 1997 conviction for running a criminal enterprise behind bars.
I believe in redemption, but there are some crimes that are so horrific
Like what?
that they deserve the punishment to the full extent of the law.
You heard him? There are some crimes that are so horrific. You mean the murder of a 19-year-old drug dealer, which is bad. We don't want it, but he don't deserve no 200 years for killing no 19. And you look at this dude. You think this dude give a shit about a black person killing another black person? Say Hoover did kill a 19-year-old. Say he did. How much time do he have to give you for that murder of that 19-year-old? How much do you want? Because, see, he just said some crimes are so horrific. Oh, so you're not talking about the continuation of running his empire while he in federal prison. Because you want people to think, no, he's a psychotic. Did he chop a man's head off? And his arms and his legs and his toe, rip his heart out and eat it? I mean, you're describing that type of shit. No. These people is disgusting, man.
As years passed, Hoover's case drew increasing attention, including from artists like Kanye West and Chance the Rapper.
And I gotta remind y'all that he was a political prisoner.
He is being held because he is a symbol, not because he needs further incarceration or he hasn't been rehabilitated.
The president's commutation only applies to Hoover's federal sentence. He still faces state prison time for which he's eligible for parole. Governor J.B. Pritzker can also offer clemency.
We know that Governor Pritzker believes in rehabilitation, redemption, and transformation, and he's done all of that.
A governor spokesperson declined to comment on Hoover's case, but said inmates seeking parole or clemency must petition the Illinois Prisoner Review Board, which makes parole decisions and issues recommendations to the governor regarding clemency.
They're gonna want him to promise them several speaking engagements at Democratic locations, speaking to the youth on behalf of them. I'm trying to tell you right now, because it ain't nowhere in hell. See, that governor, he know this is a political nightmare for him. He can lose his governorship once, like Jay Prince said, him and other powerful people start backing their opponents because they didn't, they weren't there when they needed them most. The Democrats know they already almost lost Chicago. Chicago's already finna be flipped red. This is what's going to do it. So the governor of Chicago, I already know what he's thinking, because these politicians are scumbags. He think, what you gonna do? What you gonna do for me, baby? And I need you to vote blue no matter who. It's disgusting what they finna try to do to Mr. Hoover, try to get him to play ball with the Democrats.
Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Larry Hoover has been released from ADX Supermax per Donald Trump. Round of applause to Donald Trump. Round of applause. Round of applause. Oh, okay, relax. He done let a lot of my brothers home that was in prison for life without chance of parole. I have two of them here that want to personally wish Larry Hoover, welcome home. But before we begin, let's get the music, man. You know what it is, Unique Mac Audio, man. Larry Hoover has been released from federal prison. If you don't know who Larry Hoover is, I'm going to give you a short synopsis. And I got Akbar Prey here, I got Jojo Capone, and I got Notulus, a.k.a. Not. He's going to tell you who he is. These is all official brothers. And I just want to say that, man, law is good, Big Dirk, he's home, Lil Dirk going through it, but that's why we got to come together and push forward. And but Now, let me tell you a little something about Larry. Larry Hoover is 73 and from Jackson, Mississippi, is a former gangster and the founder of the Chicago street gang Gangster Disciples. In 1973, Hoover allegedly ordered a murder and was sentenced to 150 to 200 years in Illinois State Prison. A federal investigation later led to his conviction for running a continual criminal enterprise, aka a CCE. I was charged with a CCE. A CCE is saying that you continue to run a drug enterprise. That's a violation of Title 21. It's kissing cousins to the RICO that they're using on all the rappers now. Young Thug, Diddy, Lil Durk, they all kissing cousins. With the RICO, you got to have 2 predicates. The CCE, you got to have 3 predicates. And with the RICO, it got to be carried more than a year and a day. And with the CCE, it has to be a drug charge, and that's the way that works. Now, where Hoover is at. Hoover was imprisoned in ADX in Florence, Colorado, locked up for murder, conspiracy, extortion, continuing to engage in a criminal enterprise. His criminal penalty was 6 life sentences from the beginning, his upbringing. Hoover was born on November 30th, 1950 in Jackson, Mississippi. He moved to Chicago, Illinois at the age of 4. At the age of 13, Hoover dropped out of junior high and joined a gang called the Supreme Gangsters when he was involved in petty theft and muggings. In 1968, Hoover was romantically involved with Wendell Jenkins, with whom he shares one of his 3 children. They were denied marriage by the Illinois Department of Corrections until January 9th, 2020. She stuck with it. That true love. Round of applause to her. Round of applause to her. All right, relax, y'all. Relax. Let me finish this. Right. So now Hoover was formerly associated with the GDs, with the GDN lieutenant, Marion Taylor. He also was involved himself in fighting cold cases about murders that are only now coming to light. Also tied to the organization. Of course, they had to throw one of those in there. So forgive me for putting it there, but I had to let it know what it is. Now, the criminal history, 1973, William Young was murdered. On the evening of February 26, 1973, William Pookie Young, a 19-year-old neighborhood drug dealer, was abducted and later shot dead in the alley near 68th Street and Union Avenue in Inglewood, a neighborhood on the south side of Chicago. His killing was ordered by Hoover allegedly after his name was mentioned as one of the 3 people accused of stealing drugs and money from the gang 6 days earlier. Andrew Howard was arrested on March 16, 1973, while Hoover went in hiding in Chicago. On September 21st, 1973, Hoover was driving a stolen truck and was asked to stop for a traffic violation. He tried to run away from the scene, but was arrested. The police also discovered that he was also wanted by William Young's in William Young's murder. Now, in October 1973, Howard and Hoover were both indicted for the murder, and in December, both were sentenced to life in prison and 200 years in prison in the state. However, Hoover was sent to Statesville Correctional Center in Crest Hill, Illinois, to serve out his term. 1997 is where the criminal enterprise came in from what they said Hoover did while he was in the prison. So the enterprise didn't come from the street. This was a separate charge, and that's why it's a federal charge. And right now, President Trump, the honorable President Trump that pardoned me and a few of my good brothers, and hopefully he'll get the rest of them. But, in 1997, he was sent to ADX, and that's what he was pardoned for, but he's still waiting sentencing on some charges that they held in the back just for situations like this. In case he would have won his appeal, then they bring this up. So now, even though he's free, he got to go to Illinois and deal with the Illinois situation. So he's not all the way out yet. The fight still continues. Now, while in prison for murder, on August 22nd, 1995, after a 7-year undercover joint investigation by the Illinois Department of Corrections, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. However, Hoover was indicted for conspiracy, extortion, money laundering, drug-related offenses, and continual criminal enterprise while in prison. That's what he just got pardoned for. See, I can't give it to you no more clear than that. Now, a lengthy federal investigation using wiretaps led to Hoover getting arrested. Prosecutors alleged that his gang had 30,000 soldiers in 35 states and made $100 million a year. He was arrested at the Dixon Correctional Center by federal agents and moved to the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown Chicago to stand trial. In 1997, Hoover was found guilty of all charges. He was sentenced to 3 additional life terms in federal prison. Hoover is currently serving his sentence in ADX Supermax until today, when the Honorable President Trump pardoned Lary Hoover. Attempts to appeal. In 2021, Hoover, having hired Bill Cosby's former attorney, Jennifer Bongine, tried to appeal his sentence under the First Step Act, but was denied by the U.S. District Judge, Harry Linweber. Now, gang and its impact. Now, this is what they're trying to go on right here. Now, in 1969, Hoover and David Barksdale called a truce and decided to combine both of their respective rival gangs, Supreme Gangsters and Black Disciples, together to become the Black Gangster Disciples Nation, BGDN. Now, the death of David Barksdale and Disciples takeover. In 1974, after the leader of the Black Disciples, David Barksdale, died of kidney failure stemming from injuries incurred in a 1970 assassination attempt, however, took over the reins of the Black Gangster Disciple Nation. He deemed himself as a chairman of the crew. At the time, the Disciples had control of Chicago's South Side turf. Under Hoover's rule, the Black Gangster Disciple Nation took over a majority of the Chicago drug trade, allegedly. Now, while incarcerated in 1978, Hoover formed the Folk Nation, which added all gangs in his personal likeness and interest to rate to the BGDN, such as the Lady Satan, what's this, Magnet Latin, Madden Latin. Y'all correct me in the comments. I know I got rap bastards out there. Y'all handle that. You know, let's keep it moving. You know what I mean? Spanish Gangster Disciples, Ambrose, the Two Boys, Two Sixers, Simon City Royals, North Side Insane Popes, La Raza Nation, Spanish Cobras, Imperial Gangsters, Harrison Gents, and the Latin Eagles. The Folk Nation maintained their ground from within prison property to drug turf streets and the streets. While Hoover was incarcerated, he ran the gang's illicit drug trade, allegedly, both in prison and on the streets, starting from Chicago's West Side and later extending throughout the United States. Similarly, certain parts of the affiliated folk nations began to expand to parts of the United States, including the Midwest, or which Chicago was in. Now, as of 2022, the Gangster Disciples has confirmed expansions to Indianapolis, Kansas City, Minneapolis, Detroit, Milwaukee, Birmingham, Cincinnati, Memphis, and Hoover is the birthplace of Jackson. The Folk Nation included that of the Black Gangster Disciple Nation, also personified a rivalry with the People's Nation, which included other gangs such as the Mighty Black Peastone Nation, run by Jeff Ford, who today shares the same prison facility as Hoover and is also a Mississippi-born native. Almighty Vice Lord Nation, Latin Kings, McKay Cobras, Southside Almighty, and St. Popes. The Southside fraction were rivals with the Simon City Royals, Satan Disciples, and 2 Sixes, causing them to splinter themselves from the Northside fraction, Almighty Saints, and the Four Corner Hustlers. The Gangster Disciples also engaged allegedly in a city rivalry with South Memphis crew, the love murdering gangsters, formerly LMG Mafia, right? So then we got disputes with the Black Disciples, right? Yeah, we're almost done, so we're gonna finish this. Disputes with the Black Disciples, you know? All right, so dispute with the Black Disciples. Okay, in 1989, the Black Gangster Disciples began having leadership problems as they noticed Hoover's leadership of the Folk Nation Alliance deteriorated once he shifted his sole focus towards the now splintered Gangster Disciples. Allegedly, the decline of the BGDN leadership infuriated a majority of its members and resulted the 2 gangs separating into the Four Nation Gangster Disciples and the reincarnated Black Disciples. One instance of this split, and later almost whatever, we good. But now I'm gonna bring up Jojo Capone so he could correct anything that I may have said wrong. That's why I have Jojo here. Jojo, come to the mic, you know. Jojo all over the place, but we're gonna get him there. But you know, that's where we at. So right now, I'm gonna bring up Michael Knott Palmer, and he wants to say welcome home to Larry Hoover. Sit still in the mic, Knott.
Larry, greetings, Larry. The last time we met was 29 years ago. Terry Hutt. I was a young man, just got convicted, a super kingpin charge of first in Washington, D.C. before Rayford Sedman. Like I was explaining through the doors, we were in the Cuban unit. On your way to ADX, they took you through there. I just got a stabbing and I was in there. And I was asking you, what's the difference between folks and people? Because to me, it meant the same. And you was trying to explain, but we couldn't. There was a lot of noise. I want to thank you. Thank you very much for those words of wisdom. I also want to let you know that congratulations, and it's time well overspent. One thing about God is that he'll use whoever is in power, no matter how people see. I thank Trump very much too, because if it wasn't for Trump making the First Step Act retroactive, the statute, I wouldn't be here myself. And right now, like I said, it has humbled me. Society has changed tremendously. I'm a father of 4, and I'm a grandfather of 10. And that's the beautiful thing, man. You're coming home at a good time. You look good. You're still healthy. You got a good support team. Just enjoy your grandkids, brother. And with that, I'm going to end that like I always do. One love.
All right, so that was Michael Knott Palmer. So now we got Akbar Pray, you know. All right, Akbar, let's go, baby.
My brother.
Tell him who you want to pull off the screen. You have the screen to yourself, all right, family?
I can hear you.
You can hear me?
I can hear you. What you just said.
I just said I'm going to pull off the screen. We need to see your face. Pick up the camera.
All right.
Professional. And let's go. You're the boss. You taught me. You're our big homie. Let's go. We don't want to bore the people. Let's go. You got a message. We want to hear it. I'm getting off the screen because your message is so perfect.
I got you.
Let me not get off, and you introduce yourself, and tell them you're welcome homes, and let's keep this moving.
All right. Hey, peace, my brother. Peace, Larry, and welcome home, my brother. You're coming off at home at an auspicious time. My name is Akbar Pray. I'm from Newark, New Jersey. You're coming home at an auspicious time, brother. There's a leadership vacuum in the Black and brown communities. I know that you can fill more than your role out in the Midwest where you're at and make a difference. You know, we're in a position, Larry, where we don't no longer have to try and make a statement. We have to make a difference. Everything I've heard about you suggests that you will do as much. You know, again, it's always been about community, in my view, with what you were doing in some regards. So you have an opportunity to change the community. In the past, I'm sure that people said that you showed examples of power. Now you have an opportunity to show the power of example. You know, both of us are no longer part of the problem. We're part of the solution. I look forward to, at some point, working in collaboration to try and change the trajectory, the life trajectory of some of our inner city at-risk youth. That's what I'm doing in Newark, New Jersey, working with my mayor, Ross Baraka, who is currently running for governor, who I'm giving my full support to. So again, welcome home. Stay safe, be well, and know that every day while you're out here, every day is a celebration, homie, and every meal is a feast, man. Stay up, stay safe. I'm Akbar Pray. I'm out.
All right. So hold up. Let's bring JoJo up here. You know, and Nautilus. Okay, so JoJo, tell him who you are. You give your first of all, if it's anything, give him his shout out. And if I read anything wrong from my research, I would like you to correct me. All right.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a great feeling, and man, dreams do come true for many of us. You know, the government deemed him all those things you was reading. We disagree with them things, but we just happy overall that he home. You know, so welcome home, the old man, as we call him. We love you, and this moment is overwhelming, man. But thanks to everybody that helped with the process. Of course, Donald Trump, Alice Johnson, Justin, the lawyer, the other attorney, the family, and you know, all of us that's been waiting on his return.
Yes, yes. Now, let me bring the other brothers back up here. Now, just so you understand, I wanted to read something about them because we've been locked up so long, and we talking about decades, you know, and we're talking about 4 and 5 decades that the youth don't even know, you know, who we are and what we did. So they see how powerful we became when we became the men that we are now, like what Akbar is doing and like what I'm doing, talking to the youth on YouTube. This is all to better our people, you know, but I want y'all to hear the history of what went on as far as what he was accused of, so they get some type of enlightenment. And that's why JoJo's here. So anything that he wants to correct, he correct. And that's why I said allegedly, but I just wanted the people to know, you know. So now, Brother Akbar, you know, I went to your party the other day. I'm going to edit your video for this weekend. You brought all the good men together. Everything you're doing is powerful, and is definitely, you've been enlightening me before we even met, you know, because you've been writing for Don B. Those articles, and I met brothers that was in different jails with you, and everybody spoke highly with you, just like this brother right here. You know, turn the phone now, you know, so that's where we at. You want to say something to Brother Akbar or Brother JoJo? Nah.
Huh? I can't hear you.
I said, would you like to say something to Brother Akbar or Brother JoJo?
Oh yeah, I introduced myself to Brother JoJo. I didn't know who he was. Akbar, I know very well.
Back up on the phone, man. We looking all in your mouth. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
I know Akbar from Lewisburg. We met in Lewisburg, and it was a time when DC just sentenced me to the 2 life and 20 years for the 848. In New York just indicted me again with a money laundering. So I was in transit, and the first time I met Akbar, it was his wisdom that stopped me from getting an entanglement with another individual. And it wasn't until later on that I realized the power of strength and what a general is really. A general is one that uses his wits, and that's what he did. The other brother, I just introduced myself to him. He's from Chi-Town. And I want to wish you, again, I want to give you my salute, brother. We never crossed paths in the pen,
but just the fact that you're here, you're a man of substance. And I salute you for that. And you're from Chi-Town, the Windy City. I got a lot of friends in there, both on both sides, the BDs, GDs, and so youngsters that I used to talk to when I was in the penitentiaries. And other than that, fellas, I support what Akbar's doing. He's trying to bring. I'm a Garveyite. I'm a British Jamaican, and we're about our community. And Marcus Garvey said, in order for us as a race, as a whole, to come together, we have to come together. We have to have our own hospitals, our own schools, our own banks, our own foodery, you know, and our own teachers. And that is what slowly, I believe, is slowly happening. I say, excuse me, I have a call. I say that every generation rewrites itself. The generations today, they're knowledgeable, they're smart, they're intelligent, but they lack wisdom. The wisdom is what we, the elders, supposed to direct them. But we have some elders, as we know, that is on some buffoonery. They're worse than the youngsters. And that's why, to me, I believe there's a void between the young and the old. I can only use from my experience what I did, when I spoke to the gang members inside the penitentiaries. I used to talk to them, listen to them, and they asked me, how do I do it? How can I move around by myself? Or how can they get out their situation? One thing prison taught me, it humbled me, and it made me deal with people on an individual basis. And when I did that, I realized that although we're all put in one spot, we're all from different walks of life. When you hear another man's story, you understand why he do what he do. And it's a humbling experience, especially when the youngsters want to change. And I salute both of you gentlemen there, because I know, and Unique, because I know our main goal is to try to use our life and to deter the youngsters from taking a life. And with that said, fellas, I salute all y'all. I have it seems like I'm getting laryngitis. So with that, I'm going to end gracefully while I still have a little voice left. And peace and blessings. And again, congratulations, Larry. You're well deserving.
Welcome home, Larry. All right, round of applause to Larry Hoover. Round of applause to Larry Hoover. All right. All right. Hey, Akbar, would you like to share how you have worked with the youth as far as, the gangbangers? You've gotten to situations where you had to stop something real serious. I want them to know the power that we had from on the inside, and the administration noticed that. That's why they put us out here, so that we can do what we're doing now. And we're trying to come together and stick together whatever way we can. And that's why we got multiple different states up here, because we work together. We got JoJo Capone always been there. He came to New York, hung out with me, and he already know the red carpet here. I take him to see all the other gangsters, and it's all love. Whoever don't like it, you know what I mean? JoJo, my brother, and that's what it is. Now, Larry, because JoJo hears some about how we help the youth, because he got a good foundation too. He travels the world. He's trying to fill up his passport. I'm gonna let him tell you all about that. I found that was crazy interesting. But give him one of the stories or something, how you have changed the cycle from the inside with the generation came under you.
Are you talking to who you talking to?
Oh, your mic messed up. Yeah. Nah, hey, come out and come in. I'm gonna let JoJo talk. Come out and come back in. Cause your mic messed up. All right. Hey, JoJo.
Yeah.
Tell me about your passport joint and what you're doing and what you have donated and about your different foundations. Talk to them about who you are.
Well, basically, kid born in Chicago, raised in Puerto Rico, New York, LA, and Miami. Lived my life some years in Atlanta, New Orleans. So I was banked around a lot as a youth. And coming from the ghetto, I just always wanted more. I wanted to see more, do more. Like I said earlier, I don't like the fact that our brotherhoods, like the Black Panthers on down, any foundations that we had from elders in the community to spread their knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to us was deemed as gangs or organized crimes by the government. But us as the people, we see it different. We see that this uncle and these aunties feeding us if our parents was deceased, or if our parents was incarcerated, or if our parents just didn't have it. So the misconception of just throwing gangs on every group, is just distasteful to me. And it always been that way, because I knew the truth, and I knew what the brotherhood's done for a lot of us, whether it been GDs or Vice Lords or El Rukins, Black Peace Stones. It was, you can loop them in the same group as you would have did the Panthers. The government just didn't want that to be the bright side of it. But it's a lot of public information today to where you can see the books and the literatures on these organizations, and you will see that what it was speaking of, protecting your neighborhood, protecting your people, because at these times of them brothers starting these groups, they was dealing with Jim Crow laws and racism, so every other ethnicity had a group, but they didn't want to call them criminal gangs. They would just speak on them as if it was normal. And then only thing you would hear of is like, okay, the Italian mafia, the Irish mafia, and they left it at that. But for us, when it's Black, they automatically said, oh, they criminals, they here to kill, deal drugs. But if you think none of us had owned no planes, none of us owned no boats to bring no drugs over here, that's something that the government of this country would have had to deal with, and as we seen down the line, they the ones that was bringing it over here, and using the CIA to fund it, what I'm saying, to our communities, which had our culture and our group of people in shambles the way that it did. They planted drugs, they forced the drugs on us, they dismantled the families. The projects was for the Navy and Army, the Army veterans and all that, to come to when they get out of the Army. That was a place for them to go with their families. And then they just turned that into impoverished neighborhoods and areas for our culture, when they was gentrifying back then. The gentrification always been going on. So in a lot of cities, or I'll speak on for Chicago, we didn't see white people unless it was the police, or a phone company or something like that. But so they kept us segregated. And I think still to this day, the state of Illinois is the most segregated state in the country. So we still deal with it right now to this day. So when you have guys like Jeff Fort, Larry Hoover, Vice Lord members, that came through, Mickey Cardwell, the MCs, and all of them had their groups of people trying to help the youth at the same time. The same thing that Akbar saying he's doing now, the same thing you doing, Unique, same thing I do. It's just a cycle repeating itself all over again. We distance ourselves from any negativity, so that way they don't do the same thing that they done to the brothers before us. As soon as we try to help our community and culture, they gonna put that jacket on us, so we got to learn how to stray away from that part. And if you can't have 1 foot in the street and 1 foot out, because that's what allows them to keep saying we just using everything as a front, because that's what they love to do. Oh, that's a front. He's not really trying to help the community. He using that for drugs. He using this for this and that. And then they still playing they same games with planting this.
We got to stop doing that, allowing them to manipulate us. Yes, the government entraps us with guns and drugs, but a lot of our brothers fall for the entrapment. And the latest one is Big U, who the government, they done that to Jeff Force. They bait these brothers in with government funding. That's what they can figure out to federal prison, and then allow you, give you enough rope to hang yourself. They're sending in people like they did the Panthers, while you trying to do something righteous, they say, hey, man, well, shoot, let's just rob a couple of banks, man. That'll get us the money. And then you fall for that. This is a felon informant. Then all of a sudden he pop up. He got a trunk full of guns. Look at the Panthers. They'll tell you that. Next thing you know, these felon informants pop up. They got all this ammunition. These brothers just was needing some guns. They plant these people. You can't fall for every goddamn thing that they try to do.
And this stuff on people. You know, they sent us through hell and high water to try to get grants and things that we need to, you know, they stripped everything from us. So by us not even have the finance that we need, they feel like we're going to resort back to the streets or to some criminal enterprise to try to get money to do right for our people, when it shouldn't have to be that way when we got these resources here for us to do. So that's why I tell the youth all the time, you can live the same way that you think this person is doing wrong to get their money. You can live that same way without doing nothing wrong. And I giving them examples. You just got to have discipline. You know, you save your checks for three to 4 years. You can buy whatever car you want. You fix your credit. You can get the house you want. You know, so even though the Congress and them was just passing certain laws that they wasn't giving us the same loans, or they was giving higher interest rates on the properties that we was trying to get just by our last names, you know. So it was a lot of racism plaguing the property and trying to buy homes and whatever you needed a loan for. It was racism within that, you know, to where they didn't give it to us. Or if we tried to sell a home, they depreciate the value, you know. So people was having to send a white couple that they was cool with into the home to get the rightful money that they was asking for, and then, you know, break them off and get them a piece. But that's this backdoor stuff that was going on, just even in the real estate business, you know. So we never can get over the hump of the racism that plagues in America. So we got to do everything that we can, think smarter, work harder, you know, to get where we want to go. But for the most part, I would love to say, you know, publicly that what Larry set forth for us, Jeff Ford set for us, and others that I mentioned set for us, it was the teaching us about school, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. You know, don't do drugs. Like it's public record on the laws and policies that was set forth by us, you know, in our culture. And it wasn't nothing to do with harming nobody, you know what I'm saying, hurting nobody. It was love, life, and loyalty, you know. But they don't speak on those type of things. But I want y'all to do the research on your own, so it don't seem like I'm just taking up for my city or speaking good on my city, and y'all hearing about what's going on in my city as of today. But it's no difference. It's just magnified with these cameras all over the place. But it's the same thing. These youth are on these prescription drugs and this alcohol that's on every corner. So I saluted the pastors that was getting a lot of these liquor stores shut down on every corner. We didn't need them. So, you know, anything that was harmful to us, do away with it in our neighborhoods, and you can see our people thrive. So that's where I'm at today. You know, stay away from all the negativity and just push the positivity. Once again, you know, much love to Larry Hoover, much love to the family. We always been impatiently waiting for this day. So he's finally home. Hopefully he can come home, finally touch and hug the family, see the grandchildren, get some fresh air, go on some of these islands, enjoy the weather, man, in the rest of his days, live it comfortably and peacefully. So with that, salute to you, Unique. I hope the brother not health get better, and much love to Akbar. Keep doing what you're doing. And my guys that's in Newark, I stay in tune with them, so I know they pushing the same movement and trying to help keep the streets clean as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Akbar had to step away. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Akbar, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
All right, come in the camera, family.
All right.
Yeah, so you want to tell them about your foundation if you didn't already? I don't even remember because you was off the screen. So, you got something you want to say so we could get off and give you the floor?
Okay, yeah.
All right.
So
I've been
peace,
home
y'all.
about.
By Akbar, take the stage. Peace, salute.
All
Peace,
right.
black man.
Thank you, Jojo. All right.
I was sentenced to life sentence, life without parole.
Go ahead. Yeah, we're listening.
Without parole, plus 50 years. I did 36 and a half years. I've been home little under 8 months. I said when I left that I was going to hit the ground running, and that's what I fully intended to do. I came out here messianic. I had a mission. One of them was to
Akbar,
help the
your hand
brother.
is over the camera. Your hand is over the camera.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, there
I
you go.
came out with a mission, one of which was to help some of the brothers that I had left behind. I said I was not coming home to pop bottles or make it rain at clubs, but to try and make a difference. There are good men in these federal and state penitentiaries that are going to die in jail if some of us that are released don't try to do something to make a real difference. We have to reach back. We have to continue to reach back to try and change the system that we had been a part of and a victim of. While I was in FCI Butner, I met a lot of young brothers that were on gang time. They were online. Some from the Midwest, some from the South, and a lot of them from up top where I'm at. I had a young brother who was like my son. His name is Legs. He's from out of Chicago. You might know him, Capone. I think it was a hobo or something like that. But anyhow, I got a chance to talk with a lot of the brothers, and at some point, I had all the gang members meet me on the yard. And I said, listen, what's obvious is that you got power. But in my view, you have negative power. You're part of the problem. I want you to become part of the solution. So I said, what we're going to do, I asked the question, I said, how many of you in here know Kobe stats? Virtually every hand went up. I said, how many of you in here know what a trade line is? Not one hand went up. I said, how many of you know your credit score? Not one hand went up. I said, homies, there's a problem and there's something wrong with this picture. And we've got to try and change the problem. We got to try and change the trajectory that we're on. And when we hit the streets to go out there and make a real difference in our communities, not simply to just stop the violence, but also to empower the community. So reaching back to some of our old history in some regards, but sometimes everything that old becomes new, is that we had to reach back as a nation, as a people, and start to try and make a difference, not as individuals. They say if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go with others. So my instance, what I intended to do was collaboration. So I reached out to some of the gang brothers when I got out. And in Jersey, the gang situation is different. They're no longer beefing about colors. They're doing collaboration.
He was getting deep. Hold on. Hopefully he come back in because that's where he at. Now turn the light on in your room. Now it got dark. Y'all, but I want to welcome home Larry Hoover again. That's what this is about. That, Honorable Donald Trump has exercised his executive powers and released one of the brothers. And round of applause to Donald Trump. Round of applause to Donald Trump. All right. Let's bring Akbar back up here so he can finish what he was saying. Go ahead, Akbar.
I said, in Newark, the gangs are no longer beefing about colors. They're collaborating. It's about collaboration, not confrontation. So what we did is I wanted to do something in the youth house. In the youth house in Newark, 80% of the young brothers in there, the little young brothers, are in there on homicides, murders, or attempted murders. Even if they're not the actual shooters, they're waving them up and trying them as adults. We wanted to find an intersectionality between ourselves and the criminal justice system. So we started bringing in what they call credible messages. Brothers that had street creds that could come in there and talk with them and help them navigate what was confronting them and also teaching them emotional intelligence and conflict resolution. I got sponsored in many regards by our mayor here, who is now running for governor, and who I have endorsed as the next governor of the state. Along those lines, he was the first person to write me a letter of commendation when I first tried out for clemency. In any instance, we are in the youth houses now, where we are working with these young brothers. We gotten in touch with lawyers, and we are having what they call working with them to get around the Wade hearings. The Wade hearings is what allows young brothers throughout the country, 14, 15 years old, to be waived up and tried as adults. In New Jersey, on the first degree, that could mean that you could come in at 15 and leave out damn near 50. Nobody is the same person at 15 that they will be at 45 or 50. So you're throwing away a lot of young Black lives. And there's a thing that is called, I think it's called Miller versus Arizona, where it shows that the area of the brain that controls risk-taking and executive judgment doesn't mature until a kid is 23. So what we're trying to keep is them for just throwing away generations of young Black kids. We're also working to try and bring back parole in the federal system. While I was in the system, I ran what they said was the largest inmate rehab program in the United States in the federal prison system. I did everything in the system but find a cure for cancer, but it never moved the needle. I still had life with no parole plus 50 years. I had some good homies, young homies from out of DC, who routinely going up for parole. Some of them had 3 and 4 bodies. I never went up. And I knew that this was patently unfair, not just to me, but to the countless other brothers in the federal system that had long or extended sentences that never went up. So I was determined to try and change that. That's part of my mission now on the street, is to try and find a way, working with other brothers like yourselves throughout the country, to try and bring back parole so that they won't have to wait as long as Larry waited or as I waited in order to go up and be heard on the merits. That if we work in collaboration and we work seriously and we get past the petty bickering and fighting for crumbs while they dividing the whole pie up top, then we can make a difference. You know, in fact, we have to, because we can't look to anybody. The man on the white horse doesn't exist, and we are the solution to our own problems. So we have to collaborate. We have to get together. We have to join together like we're talking now. We have to do this more often. We have to do this frequently. And we have to bring, you know, they say that the sum is greater than the weight of its parts. We have to bring collaboration in the synergy of working as one unit on whatever our problem is as a people. So I'm glad that Larry's home. I know he's a thought leader. I know he's a leader, not a boss. You know, when you're a boss has to give a command. A leader can give a request. When the boss goes or falls, they say that nigga's broke. He's gone. When a leader falls, they say that's our leader. Larry's been a leader. We have to lift him up. So we have to redefine ourselves, brothers, not as bosses. We ain't written and giving commands. We're bending to our brothers and giving requests. So, I mean, to that end, this is what I'm doing in Newark. I'm hoping that this is a template for other brothers to do it across the country and to empower our communities. Once we stop the violence, then we also have to empower the communities. Where do we go from there? So this is my mission. This is what I'm on. This is what I'm about. Like I said in the past, I showed examples of power. I've returned back to my city to show the power of example. So Larry, stay up, man. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your life. Like me, you're probably a great-great-grandfather. You know, so I'm going to spend a lot of time with the kids, but I'm also messianic. I'm going to spend these years trying to make a difference, man. I'm sure that you will too, bro. Stay up, stay safe, man. My name is Akbar Pray, and I'm out.
All right, so that's where we at. Now, Akbar said something real powerful in there when he said that we talking about generation. This is how old Larry Hoover is now today. This is how young he was when he went in, so that you understand what I'm saying. He went from that to that. They have no problem taking your lives away if you violate the laws of this country. And that's why we stress here, do not violate the laws. Live a happy, safe life with your family. That's what we're promoting over here at Unique Mecca Audio. And that's why I bring powerful men up here like Akbar Prey, not Jojo Capone. He spoke on giving each other a hand up. That's Prince from the Supreme Team. The hand up came from Big C from the Supreme Team. This is family. We all together, even though we wasn't, blessed, and y'all would look at it as crazy because you know how the rat bastards and flip-flop in public trolls carry on. But when I say blessed, I mean just to be in each other's physical, circumference during our prison time to absorb our strength so that we could go back to separate prisons even stronger with our comrade strength embedded in us. That's what it's like. I wasn't blessed to be on a compound with Akbar Prey, but I heard so many things from people that he's blessed, and then they came with his energy, and his energy rubbed off on me, something like what they call secondhand smoking, for y'all to understand where I'm at. But when we meet each other in person, now that energy goes back to where it's at and it absorbs the rest and come back. And I feel like a young Akbar Prey, or should I say a elderly, a seasoned Akbar Prey, a seasoned, not a seasoned, but me and Not was on the same compound, a seasoned, Prince Gerald Miller, because we wasn't blessed to be on the compound, but I got a chance to see him and absorb the energy that I've gotten from other people that was around him to get his energy to bring it back to me. I know this is real simple if you fall back and listen, rewind it. But look, Larry Hoover came out older than this, because this picture may be a decade old. But I want you to remember that when he went in, this is what he looked like. So they took all his youth from him, from this to this, and that's what we're trying to prevent right now over here at Unique Mecca Audio. All right, I'm about to tap out. Been on here long enough. I'm gonna let the brother Akbar say it.
Kofi, follow me.